Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey football fans, welcome to the Washington Command Center. Today it's game day. I pulled you in with my man Sam Howell and how he's the new improved Russ, plus ability to actually pass across the middle of the field, which is awesome. But let's not forget Ron, Jack, and the only reason we've been kind of competitive in this new era of Washington football. An era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. And there's no better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the first, the real, the OG Washington Command Center. So you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. While you're at it, ring that bell, hit that like button. It's free to do, and it means a lot. First off, touching back on week one, forget all that trash about us eking out a win against a tanking team. Anyone who actually watched that game knows the Cardinals didn't look like a team trying to tank. Those dudes were playing fast and hitting hard, hitting illegally more than a few times, and they were going for it on fourth late in the game. Those aren't the actions of a team trying to lose. And even if they do end up tanking, look back just to last year on week one, when the team that ended up picking number one overall, the Bears, beat the eventual NFC conference runner-ups, the 49ers, and their third overall pick quarterback, who lost his second game in just 3 starts that game. While Sam's 2-0 so far, and I think that's going to extend to 3-0 today. But for me, week one was just a reminder, with all the attention our offense got in the offseason, that this is still a team centered on its defensive identity. This team, last week really hammered home my comp of the 2012 Seahawks. That's what we looked like. We didn't have the Richard Shermans, but just how dominant the defense was. Ron and Pete, I've been over all the similarities. Ron and Pete, both the same age when they took over the teams, 58. Both had 7 wins in their first 2 seasons. You know, they added a high-tier offensive coordinator later on. And both landed a massive potential mid-round quarterback that they're both very similar. They're both very similar players, cannon-armed quarterbacks and running back bodies, super calm and collected, mobile and durable with baseball backgrounds. The similarities are crazy. But ultimately, both those teams, our team and the 2012 Seahawks, had defensive-minded head coaches that built amazing defenses through the draft. And it really showed last week. We had a sack, TFL or both, on 10 of the 11 series that the Cardinals had. That's an elite performance. And it was at all levels. Defensive line, our linebackers, which everybody's worried about, and our secondary. Everybody was flying to the ball. Sure, Cody Barton, great at bad, but who cares? The team as a whole, the defense played lights out. And our first round pick had a great game-sealing flash you know, he looked great out there. Manuel Forbes looked great. Everybody looked great. We have everything we need for this to be a special defense. And it's an amazing sign that, you know, most of us are worried about Ron and his defense is starting out slow. Well, we're off to the races already. In fact, this was the best defensive performance in a season opener since 2018. The last time we got the Cardinals for the season opener. That's the last time we were this good out the gate with the defense. So we got that to look forward to. And even though it looked rough at times, our offense and quarterback still have a ton of potential. It's Sam's first year starting, EB's first year outside of Kansas City. They made some mistakes, but they showed that they have potential. I mean, drop balls, if anything, really put us behind schedule. It caused Sam to try to play some hero ball, which wasn't good. He was trying to get us back on track. It messed up EB's game flow. And it led to us compounding some more mistakes. By the way, missing Diami, who was running a clear out, not an actual part of the progression early in the game, was not one of those mistakes, guys. Sam didn't miss Diami. Diami was a decoy. Sorry. But still, Sam showed grit, poise, outright unflappable nerves. It was a great showing from Sam, even with the mistakes. I thought his tools shined through beautifully. And last week could have easily been the blowout predicted. You know, even with his inexperience and our offense, you know, if not for some of the drops that just put everything off. It could have been that. There's just, you know, the fumble, both fumbles, you know, just everything came from the drops we had out there from Logan, even Terry. It put us behind schedule, and it just put too much pressure on him. And he'll grow into that. But speaking of our quarterback, the original cannon-armed, running back-bodied, mid-round gym quarterback now calls his home Mile High Stadium. And honestly, he looks like he's fallen off a cliff. And I fought tooth and nail against all the screaming fans, all the Commanders fans last year that wanted to trade the world to bring this guy here. People were talking about pain and sweat. Talking about 3 first-rounders. Wanted to do anything to bring Russ home. And I was not having it. I thought it was a horrible idea. And here we are, a year later, with a dirt cheap 5th round rookie contract ascending upgrade, in my opinion. And that's where we are. Now, he's got a tough task ahead of him today. Sam's got a tough task. Denver, you know, they got a quality pass rusher. They have one of the best cornerbacks in the league with Pat Surtain. They got a top-tier safety in Simmons. So, it isn't going to be easy. But if Jacoby Myers is putting up 2 TDs on him, I'm confident with all our weapons, we can put up 4 touchdowns. Surtain might be able to shut down maybe even Terry. Maybe he might be able to just take Terry off the board. But we just have too much firepower for them to stop us everywhere else. Russ, on the other hand, and their offense is going to have some problems. Our defense, way more rounded, more stacked of a group to deal with. You know, we've got a lot more than just one Max Crosby on our team. That's all they basically had to worry about last week, and they only put up, what was it, 16 points? About the same. We got dogs at every level. And while Denver has a stout run game. It's Javonte Williams is one of my favorite running backs to come out in years. Sam's old buddy, one of my favorite running backs. I don't think that, they're going to be running into the strength of our defense, our defensive line. I'm just not that worried about it. Honestly, the biggest threat I think we're going to have today is the altitude. I don't want to sound, crazy because we're, Washington, we only had 8 wins last year, but I'm not worried about Denver at all. I think that, we're going to go to 2-0. EB's going to find a better balance. I think our defense is going to keep right on rolling. It's going to have Sean Payton wishing he stayed on the announce desk. And like I said, EB's going to find that balance, and everybody's getting in on this win today. Everybody. B-Rob, everybody's scoring. Curtis Samuel, everybody's scoring. While Russ is going to be on the other sideline, forced to watch the 2.0 version of himself move to 3-0 so far in his career, wishing he would have waived that no trade clause to come home for this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. As always, no better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the Washington Command Center so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. Hit that like button, comment below, and if you stayed this long, I love y'all. Peace.